Okay, welcome aboard the A320. This is going to be the briefest tutorial I could possibly make on setting up your flight management system. Everything is already set up. I'm just going to briefly go through what I have done. From a cold and dark, obviously, you want to go through your MCDU here, and you just want to go to aircraft state and hit it in cold and dark. Once it's in cold and dark status, what you want to do is just go up here real quick, turn on your external power, and turn on your battery buttons here. From that stage, what I'd recommend you doing is aligning your IRS switches up here in the top left-hand corner. And you can also, if it's nighttime out, make sure you turn your beacon light on, navigation light, then your interior light. Sometimes, if you hit your interior light and then your nav light, the interior light likes to go off. Maybe it's a glitch in just mine. I'm not really that sure, but I tend to turn the nav and logo light on first, and then the other one. As far as setting up the flight management system, basically what you do is you go to initialize, and you would type in your origin, your destination, and then insert it right here. From that point, you can enter a flight number of your choice. Latitude right here will be set automatically. Your cost index can be whatever your heart desires. Pick your own number. As far as your cruising altitude, 36,000 is mine for tonight. From that point on, what we do is we hit the right arrow button here, and we must enter the block fuel, meaning how much fuel that it's going to take for this trip, so the flight management system can distribute it right, the information wise anyway. Once we've done that, we can go to preference. If you choose to go to preference at this point, um, you have a Airbus extended or Airbus Aerosoft Airbus fuel planner in your program file somewhere. You just open it up and you would stick your departure ICAO and your arrival ICAO in, and it will give you your distance. You just load the fuel on and you load the payload on as well. But in that left hand corner of the box, it also gives you your trim, which is down 0.1 for me right now. And what I mean by that is you would just hit the number one, the slash key, DN, and then 0.1. And once that information is down here in the left hand corner, you would click the button right here. You'd put it in. If you have your flight plan already in, then it will calculate your V speeds. But if you don't, you go back here, and obviously all this wouldn't be here. You would just see JFK and KFLL or whatever your destination is. What you'd want to do is go to JFK, go to departure or your origin where you're going from, and pick the runway that you're going to leave from. Once you do that, it will automatically go to the next page, and you'd pick your SID that you're going to leave from. If you choose to leave from a SID, that's on you. From that point, you would hit accept, OK, and what it would do for me, um, it put 420 and then it put a discontinuality manual and then a discontinuality in here. I like to get rid of the manuals because I have no ATC on right now, and even if I did, I never use the manual mode. I would just turn the plane to whatever the ATC says. So what you want to do is you'd hit the clear button, get rid of manual by hitting the right next to the button, and from that point on, you clear the discontinuality that's there, and then you start your route plan. In my case, it'd be from 420. Uh, your route plan would be, in my case, was wavy first. You'd hit wavy, enter it. It would bring you back out to here. Once you see your first waypoint here, you click back on that one. You went to your next one, and you keep going so on and so on and so on down the line. Once you reach an airway, let's say I have an airway after MJ, you can either type the airway in now and then hit airways, or hit airways first and then type it in. You would type in your airway and then the next one after your airway. If you have an airway after that, you will see it light up over here. You can stick your next airway in, then your next waypoint, and so on until you have no more airways left. To continue, then you would hit insert. Once you hit insert, obviously it would bring you back out to this screen. You would continue on, down to this. Here's the airways right here. Ending of my airways was WARNN. From there, I'd click it, and then I would hit my next waypoint, which is SWL. Obviously, it would bring me back out to the page. Then I'd hit my next one and my next one. What I do recommend you doing, this before it reached 1,228 miles, it was at 928. That is without the the arrival approach plate coming into KFLL. It added more miles on there because of the route that I have to take to come into that initial approach. But my overall direct miles would have been, if I would have went direct, would have been 928, I believe, from New York to there. What I do want to recommend that is sometimes your flight plans, depending on where you get it from, whether it be FlightAware or something, I find that sometimes that some of those routes that they got in there, when you stick them in here for a flight plan that was supposed to be 928 miles, it is now 2,000 something miles. So if you find yourself programming your FMC and you're, let's say, on the third waypoint, and all of a sudden you're at 3,000 miles, and there's obviously something wrong when the trip is only about 1,000, if that, miles. So what you need to do is you can, bring up your thing here. Let me brighten this up as bright as I can make it. Seems like that's as bright as I can make it. Let me see if I can close it up and make it a little bit brighter. No, as bright as I can make it for there. So what you need to do is um, you just keep it right here so you can see the screen as well. You stick it to plan mode, and you would just go through your plan mode. You can zoom in, zoom out, and any problems that you have, you might see, let's say from this was the arrival. But the problem I had earlier, it was a waypoint from we, and after SWL, which I'll get to that right now, it shot me back up north again. Who knows, maybe 80 to 100 miles or 200 miles north. Obviously, the route that I got it from on FlightAware has it in there, but I don't know. I doubt that they, it must have been a mistake or something because obviously you're not going to fly south to go all the way north to go south again. That's just absurd. So what you do is, if you see it breaking off and it going up from the last waypoint you were at, you obviously you would see is SWL, and in your flight management system you would erase the one that's after SWL, and once you erase it, you hit clear. Once you hit clear, you would erase it ILM if that was the case here, and it would bring up a discontinuality. You'd once again bring up the clear word right here by hitting clear and get rid of discontinuality. When you look at it again, if everything is right, it should reconnect your line again, and your miles should drop down dramatically. If it still hasn't dropped down dramatically, that means you have more waypoints in here that are obsolete that you do not need. So you just have to follow the steps individually and go through that until you reach your appropriate nautical miles and what it's supposed to be. As far as the arrival now, when you get to finish up, what you do is, see, I have a discontinuality here still. I don't know why that's in here, but I will take that out. Okay. Um, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood. So I will click arrival. I do At this present time, I don't know the runway I'll be taking because obviously I'm a little far away and the winds can change from this point to that point. But I do know I'm taking Fissile 6, so what I did was I arrowed over and took the Fissile 6, used the arrow key up, hit it, and right now, um, I don't know what runway I'm taking, uh, but each runway has its own transition from there, which would be the last point of uh, the entry point of your runway, and so on. It's like only two or three waypoints from initializing from your approach into your runway, and that would be the transition. But I don't have a transition at this present moment, and I probably won't. So will mind you that sometimes if you do add a transition, it will add more miles to your flight plan. Sometimes it can add a substantial amount of miles that's not necessary. So I would just take a look as if you're arriving. If you don't have ATC, I tend to sometimes I go manual and I fly out to the left a little bit or the right about 20 miles, and then I bring myself back into lineup if I'm going manual. Of course, if I'm connected to VATSIM, I will announce my headings and which way I'm going if there's anybody in the area, according to VATSIM, VATtastic that I look at. That's pretty much it setting up the flight management system. Um, you go to back to there, and your flight management system should have no discontinualities in it. When I stick my runway heading in again, I might get a discontinuality. This is my to descent right here after cranes. It wants me to descend. Um, you don't have to descend according to this. If you're pretty high up and you think that this recommends you, it's telling you it should be at this flight level, at this presumable time. If you wanted to manually just bring yourself down a little bit quicker or a little bit sooner, you could do that. If you have the checklist co-pilots engaged, um, and let's say your descent preparation doesn't start for another 70 miles, you can automatically manually have him do the preparation checklist earlier, and you can start descending before you get to TD. And it still wants me at 36,000 at there. At this particular point, you can descend down to 25,000 or 20,000. I guess as long as you don't have ATC on, or you can literally just follow what the FMC tells you. Past experience, sometimes the FMC, it still has me higher than what I'm supposed to be at for some reason. Not all the time, but sometimes. Sometimes it's pretty on point. I'll give it that. What you need to do is, if you don't do it, the co-pilot pilot will set the QNH. You get your QNH either from Vatastic when you click on the airport, and then in the lower left-hand corner it will tell you your altimeter. It might not tell you the QNH though. I get my QNH from Active Sky. What you want to do is you want to set your speed, your VR speed. So what you do is you go to Preference, and obviously sticking in your trim levels and everything that you got from your fuel planner. The V speeds will come in as long as your flight plan is together. Mine is 137, so what I did was I went up here and put it in as 130. Well, it's off now, but it was. Click it back into 137. I can keep it right there for now. Um, and then click it to 137. As far as my altitude, if I click everything in, all the buttons are in, this button's in, and this one's in, FMC will then operate everything once I engage the autopilot. Um, as far as it should fly the SID according to the what it's supposed to be. So right now it would fly to 10,000 feet and hold that until the next waypoint of however long that could be, 10 miles from there. Then it will continue on. But if you don't want it to do that, you want it to go straight to 36,000, just right click on it, and you can manually just right click here on the thing, and you can manually turn it up or down or wherever you want to go. And you can click it twice. That's what I do. Click it twice, which literally disengages it from the FMC, and then you can go up or down. To get it to go to FMC mode again, just click it back on, and that will disappear. Now it's back on to FMC mode. If you want to change the heading manually, just right click on here, and now you can change it your heading to where you need to go. And I'll show you as I go back into other mode. You can see the heading change, this arrow right here as I turn it. As you can see, it matches, the arrow here to the arrow here, and your plane will turn. To engage FMC again, just click on it, and FMC mode will activate once again. Uh, this particular flight is going to take 9,340 gallons of fuel, kilos, which would most likely interpret to about 20,000, I'd say 600 pounds of fuel in pounds. Just make sure that you set your trim right, and make sure that you definitely, in order to get your altitude speeds, that your initialize fuel block must be filled out here. Once again, the fuel block section is on the second page of the initial page. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Your flight system should be done. This is roughly about the miles that it's going to take me to get there. Maybe just a tad bit more when I put the runway in. Shouldn't be. Actually, it probably shouldn't make a difference. Uh, you want to set your max brake to RTO. Brake coolant, you don't need it on because you're on. I'd activate that when you're landing, so you won't overheat your brakes. I've actually overheated brakes in here, believe it or not. It actually turned red. It was pretty weird first time. Um, Everything else, you just initialize the co-pilot, and pilot will, in this case, for the system, will turn everything else on. And I'm sure you know how to do the rest of it on here. But that's pretty much it. He'll set the QNH for you if that's the case. But the Airbus is pretty simple flying. You use GSX to push yourself back. As far as your the checklist goes, let's go back one. When it's red, start, push, start, you'd hit start. This initial stage, he will talk to the ground crew to disconnect, external power and blah blah blah, and the chocks and everything. Then if you don't have GSX, just hit Shift P and you'll manually push back. Once he's done talking to the ground, in here the MCDU, like it's blinking now, will say start engine 2. Just flip the switch, which will be in this direction, swip it to the right, and then start engine number 2. When he says engine stabilized, sometimes you might not hear him. If it's over 30 seconds or whatever, just switch it to start engine 1. Sometimes you don't hear the sound anymore, so you can hit A and S and A and then come back inside the plane and maybe the sound will come back on for you. Um, but if she gets stuck saying FMC, or she gets stuck in her ways of saying a word and keeps saying it, make sure that the co-pilot side is on right here, because if it's off, she will still speak, but the captain will not speak. So she's expecting you to say something, which don't know how to say something back to the Aerosoft. So basically, that's pretty much it, and that's how you start your initial FMC and how you do your, get ready for your flight. You talk to ATC now if you're about to ATC. Um, I hope this was pretty brief. If you want to know your time of how long it's going to take you to get there, it's 0212 for me, and the clock is still going, so 0200 hours for me, and I will be, Zulu time will be in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, depending on when I take off from here. So basically, that's it. Everything is already set. One more thing I have to tell you. I did have problems when I reached about my cruising altitude. I'd get a toga in the left-hand corner here. In order to get rid of that, what you just do is reset the auto thrust right here, and you should be good. A lot of you, normally on other aircrafts, you like to stick your throttle full throttle. In this particular one, you can't. So what you need to do is on takeoff, you have to put it to flex. Right here, maximum takeoff. Right here, that's the takeoff right here that you put your throttle in. When you get maybe about 3, 4, 500 feet up, you would put it back to climb mode, which is right here. And if you have the co-pilot thing activated, he'll say climb mode, and he'll do the checklist according to your altitude and where you go. You really never have to worry about your QNH, because pretty much they'll take care of everything. They pretty much do everything for you as long as you've already set up the FMCU and you set your trim levels that were supposed to be according to the FMCU, and it pretty much flies itself. To be honest with you, it's a very easy, sophisticated aircraft. I hope this tutorial has helped you out, and if you have any other questions, my name is Jason, and I look forward to helping you with any future information you have, whether it's on the PMDG, whether it's on the Dash Q400, or whether it's with this aircraft again. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.